reasonably fast pit stops, some even approaching the sub 2 second mark. But what about the longest? Well, that would go to Valtteri Bottas, who had to retire after a seized wheel nut forced him to retire in the 2021 Monaco GP. The seized nut was removed 43 hours later, which officially makes it the longest pit stop turnaround in history. Packed grandstands here today with thousands in attendance, hoping to see their favourite drivers battle it out on track. 2019 Chinese GP was F1's 1000th official championship race. If we continue with around 20 to 24 races a year, we can expect the 2000th GP to happen around the year 2064.
Good evening everyone, welcome back to SFR for round 18 here in Miami. We're coming towards the end of the season and we've only got a few races left, and the championship spicy is looking very good indeed between the likes of MDJ, Hurricane and Berimi. It's very tight at the top of the championship standings, and here is Vettel, who is almost lost the back of the car coming out of turn 18 there, so hopefully he doesn't do that on his flying lap as we make our way now towards turn number 1, where we saw Kevin Magnussen and Logan Sargent scrapping it out until here, turn 3, where they make contact, and Vettel makes it out of the corner very nicely there, not really utilising the curbs to his advantage. We make our way into the left hand, here we go, flicking it in, carrying a lot of speed, trying to keep the minute speed up, and you've been really careful as we enter this part of the session. You want to run out wide, try and get the best exit speed out of here, and use the curb on the outside with the DRS there, but DRS is actually activated there because it's activated later on. That was the DRS detection point, and here is the DRS wide open then as we make our way now towards turn number 11, where we saw plenty of battles go down into that corner there. Another favourite place to overtake here is the turn 11, but it can be quite difficult as well because you don't have a lot of straight, and the DRS activated halfway through the straight as well. Now we're making our way towards this complex of corners. Nathan had to adjust his steering there because he was steering into the wall, but had to correct it, and unfortunately has validated 2 across the curb. I think that corner is going to catch a lot of people out towards the end of the middle sector. Seeing plenty of people, including myself, make mistakes there through turn 11 all the way to turn 16. It is a very frustrating corner indeed before you make your way onto this back straight here with a DRS there. So Nordis is also back. It doesn't look very sunny here in Miami, not the usual weather settings here. It would seem here a bit dusted, a bit of cloudy as well for good measure, looking morbid out there too. So it won't overheat the tyres as much like it did in qualifying, as our new driver, sorry, I tried to think of the words there, I'm a bit tired and I've got a bit of a headache too, so it has been a very long day indeed. But SFR Ginetti has gone up to first place with a 28.9, but I expect the time to be in the 26, I believe it is what you want to be aiming for. Rogue Smithy goes to the top of the time sheets with a 27.6, and he had a decent result last week. Did Rogue Smithy was winning the podium, but his strategy didn't quite work to his perfection as well. Whether he was struggling on tyres, I'm not quite sure. But here's the returnee of Nordis then. He was very close to a podium back in Japan and in China, but narrowly missed out with the wrong strategy, and he fell backwards too due to his race pace. But hopefully he can try and deliver something here in Miami as we make our way now towards the finish line for him. What's his first lap time going to be? At 27.5, as he momentarily goes on pole by a 10th in hand as well. Smoke is up to P4, JDM in the medium compound tyres, just saving a set of softs later for this session then. We saw medium compound tyres being introduced back in Miami in SQ3 or Qualifier 3. My memory is so bad I actually can't remember, but here is Bearimi. They make his way towards the end of turn 16 there. Just open the corners, get a better exit and launch yourself onto the straight. And with the help of DRS as well, making our way down this back straight we go. MDJ goes into P3. Not a particularly good qualifying session last week for MDJ for his standards. He was a P7 and he finished, I believe, in a P5 or P6, so it wasn't really a particularly strong race there for MDJ. It wasn't really his best track either. And Bearimi, the man who finished in P3 last week, is P1 with a 27.3, so both Red Bulls are looking very strong in the Constructors' Championship, it must be said. Both of them had a really good driver lineup since the Baku Grand Prix when they partnered, and here is his teammate Harry Kane, the man who, he's just validated on the entry towards 13 there, so yeah, took too much curb. In fact, he cut the whole curb and ruined his lap time, so that's his lap time done and dusted for the time being. But we all know it's early in the qualifier session, still plenty of chances left to go in this qualifier session to try and make amends for your lap times indeed, as we've not really got a lot of people setting lap times, only about 9 of them here in qualifier, but a lot of drivers here in qualifier are really struggling to try and hook it up and try and maximise all the track without abusing the track limits, which is cost a lot of drivers. And also a driver who's returning is a Hazara as well. He raced the last race in Brazilian Grand Prix and he was leading until when he lagged out, I think, or he was lagging all over the place and he got collected by another car, which was neither fault. It was just the internet connection issues there. Jagemal is next to tackle the chicane and this complex of corners here. A bit of wheel spin on the exit there for Jagemal as he sets a purple middle sector, hopefully representative to his fastest middle sector there, as he might pick up a distant tow from the Ferrari ahead of us. Traffic is also can be a problem around here. We saw Kevin Magnussen really struggling with traffic there as Jagemal only reached about 330 km an hour. The fastest I've seen is 338, so the Haas might be carrying a bit more downforce in comparison to others, trying to make it work through the corners. Here is Jagemal towards the line and he goes into P5 there. Both Haas's have been dipping inside the top 10 in the last few races, but in terms of the actual race itself, it just can't quite seem to get it hooked up there, as hopefully nobody... Oh, there's contact in qualifying. Who is that? Is that Xenom in P14? It is. And I think he was going for a flying lap. As you can see, the battery is being used and he hasn't set a lap time himself. So there's contact in qualifying. Quite rare to see contact, although we did see it back in Saudi Arabia. But those two have made contact. No 5 players grip penalty given to either driver, which is a relief sign for both of them. And they live to fight another day, do those drivers. So Xenom there can save the battery, cool the tyres down, because he hasn't really used too much tyre life, has he? Because he only entered the first 3 corners. But not what you want to be seeing here in qualifying. And nobody should be making contact at all in qualifying. Adams is up into P7 ahead of his Mercedes teammate. And he was the one that triggered the safety car, which turned out to be a disadvantage for some people, like Harry Kane, who was leading the race until that moment as Lord Daddy Boy ran at deployment towards the line, and he goes up into P9 with a 28.1 there. So Langfeld, look at his lap time in P2, 27.3. So it looks like Langfeld's on a rise. He sneakily has been inside the top 10 majority of races as well. And looks like both Alfa Romeo drivers have got a really strong lineup, with Hazara down in 20th place there, because he's not on a lap yet so far. Here's Hazara. So Vettel, we've seen him so far in the qualifying session earlier, where he validated in the same place as Harry Kane, but 1 corner later, here he is going for another attempt here in the Alpine, and Jargon gets a 5 place grid penalty for illegal blocking. That's my biggest fears here in qualifying. There it is. And it looks like he was blocking our Haas there, so unfortunately one of those drivers appeared to a penalty, and we might get a restarted session unfortunately here, which might delay even more time. And here is Vettel on the long over kilometre straight. I can't exactly remember what the accurate measurement is for this long straight here, but here we are then, coming towards turn 18. Heavy brake is only indeed important to score for the speed, gradually picking up the throttle there to make sure you don't wheel spin on the exit. And now we're making our way towards the line. What's Vettel going to do in the Alpine? P3, not bad there for him, as he sets a 27.4. He last appeared here in Mexico. He was teammates with MDJ, and Harry Kane goes to the top of the time sheets and the first man in the 26s, and he's done it by 3 laps as well. So both Red Bulls like to run long on the same set of soft compound tyres to try and save some towards the race as well, to just in case they get any safety cars towards in the Grand Prix. They've always got that fresh set of tyres to use if anything goes wrong or if it pays in their favours. Rogue Smithy, however, has gone a few hundreds quicker in the first sector, but hopefully for him he can find more time as we make our way down towards turn number 11 we go. Let's see. He hooks up the breaker zone really nice there, being very careful with the throttle, just trying to keep it within the track limits. We make our way now towards the section we go, using the curves really nice there. Didn't really cut the corner. You want to cut the corner, but at the same time don't cut it too much, and you want to avoid the wall on the exit obviously, as Rogue Smithy is 3/10 up in the middle sector. As Langfell says, actually close to my TT time for once, says Langfell. So Langfell there is progressing really nicely, although he's been displaced by MDJ, who goes up into P3. So MDJ is, look at Rogue Smithy there, squirming away on the exit, and Lay's gone up into P6 in the McLaren. Here comes Rogue, P2. Wow, what a good lap time there. Once again, qualified third in Miami. Sorry, this is Miami. Qualified third in Vegas. What am I even talking about? He qualified third in Qatar. Finally got it right. I had Qatar in my head, but for some reason I didn't want to say it. But anyways, it's a Red Bull Williams, and this is feisty for the constructors. We all know Rogue Smithy's got some decent pace, but in terms of consistency and mistakes has been the downfall for him this season, which has cost him penalty points. But hopefully he sorted his act out, and looks like he has in the past few races. Looks like he's driving professionally, and he's found a lot of pace too, so that's a really good side to see from Rogue Smithy there. As we can see, a laser coming through now the Mickey Mouse section as he takes it through 13, now coming towards 14 and 15 there. Oh, look at that, he's using a lot of curve, but I think he bounced over the curve way too much and put him offline and compromised his entry towards 16 as well. He's 1.6 seconds down, so it doesn't really matter. Here's Norris, look at that, 3/10 up in the first sector is Norris, so finding a lot of time as the Ferrari gets out of the way. But here comes Norris now through this section. You can see the back end of the car just wants to step out as we make our way towards turn 16. They're hitting the curb on the entry. He's 3/10 up in the middle sector. He has lost a bit of time, has Norris. You can see the back end of the car wanted to step away from him under the Aston Martin, but the Norwegian driver negotiated really well as he approaches speeds about 335 kilometers an hour. That's 336 as Hazara goes into P2 behind Harry Kane with a 27.1 there. So here comes Norris in the pit lane. So he's not satisfied with that lap time, it seems. He believes he can find more lap time. On board with the AlphaTauri of Draugen, the man who won back in the Qatar Grand Prix and took a victory, which was his first victory of the season, and what a victory it was on old degraded medium compound tyres which were about to die towards the end of the Grand Prix. And he managed it really well, coped well under pressure, despite getting hunted down by Harry Kane. Didn't faze him whatsoever. Now on board with the Haas pair of Jagermal, flicking his way through 4, 5 and 6 there, trying to carry as much speed as he can. All the back end of the car wants to step out of him as he tries to pin the throttle, but the back end will not allow it, so too much input for that Haas there, but he still goes about 2/10 quicker in the first sector there, so lost a bit of time, but he's still improving now as we enter the second DRS zone down the straight, headed towards the favourite corner of turn 11, where we might see some overtaking in that corner, but I presume these guys will wait for the DRS tray like we always see in league racing. And now we're making our way through this complex section through here. We saw Max Verstappen getting caught out by this section as well. He went a bit deep into that corner, did Jagermal, but makes it out unscathed, and the sun is starting to appear on the circuit there, so we might see a bit of track evolution and the track constantly improving too, as Jagermal has opened his DRS down this back straight as we make our way towards the heavy braking zone. Some people like to describe this as the final corner, but obviously the final two corners are flat out indeed, so the last proper braking zone before we get to the loud pedal. Once again we see plenty of people in the pit lane. It goes Jagermal, so he believes he can find more time on his lap 2. So a few people are backed out despite improving. they're going to go for it on the very last second as well, trying to get the best track temperature and the conditions as well. Here comes Adams in the Mercedes, the man who crashed in Qatar, who caused the first safety car, but he's in the pit lane too. So we've got a bit of a null on the track so far here, as Vettel is the man going for a flying lap. He's already about 2/10 up in the first sector. Is Vettel currently in P7 there, doing a really good, showing a really good result and strong driving too from Vettel. Now making our way through this long right-hander of turn 12. Be very patient on the throttle before you can get back on it. Making our way now towards this section we go. Oh, we just rides over it unfortunately and picks up an invalidation. I can't express my frustration with that corner. It's a make or break corner really. You can't have any hesitation whatsoever. You're going to be so precise when you enter that corner. Look at that, the motorway in the background, never really, or the highways they call it in USA in the background, never really noticed it, but did notice it back in the race where we saw a few cars parked on the side of the road where they were watching the Grand Prix. So, Vettel then has backed off. I think he's trying to save ERS because he hasn't got time to go in the pit lane and go for another run. And that's the negative around this track, because the most difficult part is the last sector, and it's really hard to save a battery, plus trying to cool your tyres down too. So Vettel at a disadvantage starting his next lap because he's quite low on ERS in terms of full lap standard, it must be said. So Vettel coming towards the first corner again, trying to go for his second attempt on these soft compound tyres. Through 2, through 3 it goes. Looks very nice indeed. There's a car in the way, but hopefully gets out of the way as we make our way down towards the turn before we go. Flicking it towards the left hander we go. Kind of a lot of speed through there, just off the throttle. Into 6 and 7 we go. This long looping left hander. Let's see if he can make the back of the car stick, because it's very easy to lose traction through here, and gets on the traction really nicely as well with the DRS detection point. There's a few cars in the way. He goes about 2.5 tenths up in the first sector. Does Vettel. DRS wide open, picks up a decent tow from the back of a car in front of us. Can't quite tell who it is. There's a Red Bull, and now there's a Mercedes in the way. Does he get out of the way? Yes, he does. He goes off the racing line as we make our way towards turn 11. But as you can see, that disadvantage in the last lap has also played an effect on this lap, because he's derating on. Oh, he's crashed, and he's lost his front wing too. And unfortunately for Vettel, this mistake for the second time in a row has cost him dearly. Oh, it is a really frustrating corner for him indeed. But Vettel's lap time is over, and with 50 seconds left to go in the session, looks like Berry be trying to go for a lap time too, because it looks like he's invalidated. He hasn't invalidated. Must have made a mistake somewhere, so he had to back off for the time being. Brand new set of soft compound tyres attached to all the cars except Laser. It looks like Lazy tried to go for a lap time too, but also made a mistake or invalidated. So here we are then towards the end of this qualifying session. Oh, Hazara, too much curve there, compromised him into the next corner, and I dare say he will be down in the first sector. Will be Hazara then. So let's see his first intermediate split. He is currently a few hundreds up, so yeah, that mistake, he's still found a bit of time. Maybe in the last lap too, did the same thing. So here we are with the DRS wide open. Hurricane on an outlap. Zeno gets a 5-place grip penalty for collision with MDJ. That's at the final corner. We can see a few cars parked up in that final corner. In fact, somebody starts the lap time with somebody else. Let's go on board. That's Rogue Smithy. Once again, he finds himself with a Red Bull in the way, like he was in Qatar. And who is that Red Bull in front of us? That's Hurricane. So Hurricane and Rogue Smithy again starting their flying lap together. And it's been a bit of a habit too with Rogue Smithy starting a lap time behind somebody else. So we need to sort out his timing. Does Rogue Smithy, as MDJ crosses the line in P5. So unfortunately for him, he could not improve. So let's see if anybody else can improve. Already Hurricane 1/10 up. Here's Hazara, by the way, 3/10 up in the middle sector. Let's keep an eye on him despite that mistake into turn 5. Here he is towards the line. What's it going to be for him? It's pole, and he improves by a huge half a second despite a mistake at turn 5. Hurricane though, what can he do? Can he respond to Hazara? Everybody's driver's worst nightmare is Hazara, because they don't want to join us, to join back the session. Here comes Hurricane and Rogue Smithy through the complex through turn 13 and 16. There's an Alpha Tyre right behind us too. What's he going to do? 3/10 up in the middle sector is Hurricane. What about Rogue Smithy? Can't quite tell, but he will pick up a decent tow, so it might help him as well on this straight. Look at Hurricane trying to break the tow. You don't really see that in qualifying, especially when you go for a flying lap. It's rather odd to do that. And here we are coming towards turn 18 we go. Gradually again. Oh, he lost the back of the car, but still sticks with it as we make our way now towards the line. Is it going to be pole for Hurricane? No, it's not, as Rogue Smithy goes into P3 ahead of Berry. Drauga goes into 5th place. What a weird qualifying session, it must be said. But however, Hazara, out of all of this, is on pole. Ever seen somebody try and break the toe whilst on a flying lap, but Hurricane did not want to give any slipstream. Did he cost himself though? But I think turn 18 cost him because he's currently 200 away from Hazara. Don't know why I said that weirdly, but Harry and Hazara together. And here is qualifying. Now we might get a lobby restart, but look at the gap. It's quite a distant gap. You don't really see it here at SFR, but this Miami Grand Prix circuit is proven to be very tricky. And I'm not surprised either. There is the top 20 classifications. Qualifying has come to an end. That was a really interesting qualifying to watch out for, and I'm excited for the race too. We'll see more for the race, but Draugen will start in 10th place unless we get a restart. So it's not really a good qualifying session for the likes of Laser down there in P10. So we're looking for a big improvement. Still looking for his first podium of the season since the third race of the season. Quick save there from me. But I've never really seen anybody try to break the slipstream. I didn't really introduce myself, did I? At the start, so I think most of you know who I am, but my name is Jamie or Indigo, and I usually have Oliver alongside me, but unfortunately he can't make it, and I pray for Oliver that everything goes well for him. A really nice guy to talk to, and it is a restart indeed. Really nice guy, a good league racer. He has improved over the seasons too, and we all wish for Oliver too, because he is a fantastic character and a very nice guy. So we'll leave the session then, as lobby restart is imminent. So highlights for the qualifying is the Rogue Smithy. Is it tactical? Is it on purpose for Rogue Smithy? Does he really want a slipstream because he's compromised himself in the corners as he's in dirty air? But what if somebody ahead of him crashes or invalidates and they get out of the way too late because he's too close behind, and therefore he will report it because he says he blocked me, but at the same time the guys ahead, if they do invalidate, they won't have enough time to respond to get out of the way, if they can. Depending where they are on the circuit. If it's that back straight, they're fair enough, but obviously you're not going to invalidate on the back straight, are you? But in the Mickey Mouse section, if he invalidates, you can't really pull out of the way. You have to keep going until he's halfway down the straight. We saw it with an AlphaTauri in Qatar, and this time we're seeing it here in Miami. So it looks like it's a reoccurring theme, where he gets very close behind somebody. Whether he may not be purposeful, maybe he hasn't really timed it, maybe he wants to go... maybe he just wants to pull the trigger when it's near the end of qualifying. Might want to set a lap time when qualifying is almost came to an abrupt end. But here in Miami, this time last week, it was Qatar, and it was a fantastic race with the likes of Rogue Smithy, Draugen, Barry. Sorry if you hear me cracking my knuckles, by the way, that was a bit unprofessional. So sorry about that, I've got a bad habit of cracking my knuckles. So if you heard that on the stream, apologies about that one. We're just waiting for an invite. But did Paul slip away from Hurricane's hands because of that weaving down the straight, or was it the final corner of turn 18? Was he too focused about Rogue Smithy? But either way, Rogue Smithy is right behind. So another great qualifying session for Rogue Smithy, must be said again. And he out-qualifies his teammate again too. So whilst we got the drivers in the lobby, I'll read you the championship standings. So MDJ still remains in the lead. He scores 330 points, ahead of Hurricane by 15 points. Only 15 points in the last 4 races is all to play for in the Drivers' Championship. At a track like this, where it's very difficult, brutal on track limits, and brutal in terms of how close the walls are, we might see some massive changes and big upsets in this race to come. barely be third place. He's 9 points behind his teammate Harry Kane. They're going equal towards the end of the Grand Prix to figure out who will win the championship or who has more of a chance to win the championship. Laser in 4th place, only one name to his win and 3 podiums this season, but he hasn't had a podium since the Hungarian Grand Prix, which was the 3rd race of the season. Jalkin, who just scored his first win of the season last week, is in P5, 250 for him. He's 60 points away from Laser. And Ramovaj, a constant podium sitter here in SFR. He's currently in a P6 there, ahead of Martin. I think he overtook Martin in the last race. And Langfeld, who's currently in 8th place, ahead of Mackett. Is Mackett here? I didn't really see him in qualifying. Apologies if I did do so, but I don't think Mackett is here tonight, so we can't do anything about Langfeld. Yagamal is on the same points as Mackett. Samid outside the top 10 only by 2 points. It's all to play for in the midfield. And Nolders, who got pushed outside the top 10 because I don't think he appeared back in the last race, did he, at the Qatar Grand Prix? Yeah, he didn't appear back in Qatar, so he got pushed outside the top 10, but can he get back in there? Because Mackett's not racing, Sam's not racing, so that could be a chance for Nolders to get himself back into the top 10. Lord Danny Boy 13 is ahead of Adams, who is now a full-time driver for Mercedes. He's regularly appeared as a reserve driver in different races, and he's always scored inside the top 10, excluding Qatar, as he crashed there last week. Atlas Copo 50 place ahead of Smoke, and Rogue Smithy down in 17th place in the championship with 99 points, as there's a massive contrast between first down to 17th, and my dog's barking in the background, so apologies if we heard that one. You just got put to the cage. He's not really in the cage much these days, but he doesn't like it when he's in there. He always complains. The only time he's in the cage when he's at night, because obviously when we all go to bed. But now he's in there, so you might hear him bark now and then. I apologize about that one. I've seen him down in 18th place with JDM. They're both scoring the same points. And Sonic Hawk, who's on 20th place with 55.5 points. In terms of reserves, looks like the reserve champion of Glock might maintain his title in first place. And Hazara is in second ahead of Burmeister. There's a massive gap between Burmeister and Hazara. So I think in terms of reserves, Glock is now the winner of that one. He was a full-time driver, of course, but he's decided to quit after the Imola Grand Prix. A bit hot-headed like Rogue Smithy, it must be said, but at the same time, yeah, he was just a bit impatient going for moves now and then, or go for moves in the first stint, instead of playing the long waiting game. It's nice to see Rogue Smithy improve though. We all know he can improve. You can be really careful in the last 4 races not to pick up any penalty points, because that will result in a season ban too, so you can be really careful not to pick up them points. He wants to be picking up points in terms of championship points, but in terms of penalty points, doesn't want any of them at all. Hope you all enjoyed the Miami Grand Prix on Sunday too. I think it was, for me, I wasn't expecting Norris to be anywhere near the front, to be honest with you, because he has some decent pace, but he couldn't really show it in the sprint qualifying because he couldn't really get his tyres working up to the temperature he wanted to, and also in the sprint he got taken out by Alonso, Stroll, Hamilton. I'm going to say which one is our fault, just in case people start coming at me. And also in qualifying, he was on the medium compound tyres, wasn't he? But he switched over to the softs, or did he stay on that medium compound tyre towards the end, but it didn't quite work out. I'm surprised they chose mediums, because we don't really see mediums being used as a qualifying tyre. The last time I saw mediums used as a qualified tyre, and they took pole, was 2021 Portuguese Grand Prix. It was quite hot there, and the medium compound tyres, I think, worked to the perfection. It was both Mercedes qualified first and second when they qualified on the medium compound tyres. And in the race as well, Lando Norris did a fantastic job, because it looked like he was nowhere in the first stint. He was in 6th place behind Perez, not really making any inroads, but towards the end of the first stint, putting Perez under pressure. That Red Bull straight line speed is absolutely mighty, so it was quite difficult to overtake the Red Bull. But once the Red Bull was out of the way of the pit lane, Lando Norris had clean air. He was gaining on Carlos Sainz. He was actually pulling away from Max Verstappen, despite being on older tyres. Then the safety car came at the right time, thanks to Kevin Magnussen and Logan Sargent too. And ever since then, Lando Norris controlled the race beautifully. I think every single driver, or every single person, sorry, was nervous for Lando Norris. You have no soul if you don't. But yeah, Lando Norris trying to get his first win since the Sochi Grand Prix in 2021. We all know it's because of safety cars, etc. They could go on newer tyres. If Verstappen might be back in the pack as well. You can see the team radio for Oscar Piastri was quite funny. It was the opposite of Renault in 2008, saying, "Oscar, we do not want to cause a safety car because we're currently leading the Grand Prix." As he was fighting his way to the midfield because of his contact with Carlos Sainz and himself in turn 18. We've seen a lot of people really struggle at the exit of turn 18. I'm talking about in SFR too. The back end of the car just wants to squirm away as you try to get the back of the power as quickly as you can without losing traction or too much time. But it's going to be really interesting to see the battles going on in this race. The Mickey Mouse section could be some drivers' kryptonite for this race because it's caught a lot of people out. And I'm not surprised either, whether it's hitting the wall on the inside or making a mistake in turn 15 and cutting the curb. Like we saw Max Verstappen do, taking out the bollard. Hazara's lap time was absolutely magical because he made a mistake in turn 5, then compromised into 6, but he scooped that lap really well, finding a lot of time in the middle and the last sector. I thought his lap time would have been over making a big mistake like that, but he's shown us he's got some mighty pace when he puts the practice in. Obviously I know his sister driver on a pad too, which is incredible. It'd be nice to see him as a full-time driver, but I think a lot of drivers won't be happy about that one because we all know he's a very quick driver and can be unstoppable at times. He's dominated quite a few races. He hasn't won in the last race in Brazil when he participated in it, but he still picked up, I think, about 3 wins this season, if I'm not mistaken. Let's have a look. Yeah, he picked up 3 wins as I'm looking at the graphic here. Despite being a reserve driver, he picked up more wins than Glock, who was a full-time driver. FNR Simon, who was a reserve driver who appeared last week in Qatar, had a really great qualifying session, but unfortunately fell backwards in the race, whether that soft compound tyre didn't produce the grip towards the end and therefore other people caught up and he fell down the order, but still picked up some decent points. And Vettel, whose second appearance here in SFR this season, looking to get off the 0-point mark. The Williams was on the podium in Div 2 yesterday. Can be repeated again with the AlphaTauri Mindful Wasp in 3rd. It was Keith who won the Miami Grand Prix in Div 2, with Kosh in 2nd place and Mindful Wasp in 3rd for Red Bull. Quite a few penalties were picked up in that race too, which is not surprising considering the track limits around here, which is very difficult. Hopefully we can get racing soon, and there are the lights to signal the formation lap. Off we go then for the formation lap, and let's see what tyres people have opted to go for. So majority of drivers are on the hard compound tyres, excluding JDM, Yakimal and Janeji in P18 there. So they've gone for the opposite route, for the soft and the medium, and let's see what they can do then. Looks like Haas always go for a different alternate strategy, because last week in Qatar majority of drivers on the hards except both Haas's, so Haas's tend to do a different strategy in comparison to everybody else, but majority on hard compound tyres, and I don't think any rain is expected then, so we can have a nice dry race around here and we'll see what happens in Miami. This is going to be shaped up to be a really great Grand Prix. Might see a few surprises, might see a few upsets here, but who could handle this track and the Mickey Mouse section? who could consistently keep it on the track without exploiting the track limits around here, around this 5.4 kilometer circuit, which was introduced back in 2022 in Miami and also Vegas a year later too. We were at the second of the USA track. We were back at Texas for USA. Texas was quite a few rounds ago, and I think who won that Grand Prix? I think it was MDJ who won that Grand Prix as well. But here in Miami, it looks like it's a different story. We still got another USA race here in SFR, which is Las Vegas. We're going to Portugal next week, back in Europe, and we're moving over back in America for Las Vegas. Then the final race of the season is Silverstone. We've got 4 races left, including this one. The championship battle is looking very spicy indeed. Advantage Hurricane so far in the last few races. MDJ needs a lot of work to do in this race if he wants to try and secure and pull away from Hurricane in the championship standards. Apologies about my dog if you hear bark in the background. Hello Oliver, I was talking about you. Hopefully you're doing alright mate, and I'd love to have you back in the commentary box as well. Take care of yourself, take as much time as you need, and I'm very sorry about the circumstances you have. Yagumar's left the session, so hopefully he can get himself back in. He left the session in Qatar as well, so it looks like he's having a few internet connection issues. But yeah, Oliver, take care of yourself mate, we're all thinking about you, and yeah, take it easy and take as much time as you need. Burmeister has been disqualified, but it doesn't really matter considering he's on the track right now. Doesn't have to wait long, but we are waiting the lights then. 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. And we can get racing underway here in Miami. Let's see who gets a better start off the line. Hazara looks like he's got the advantage so far. Yes, he has. As we head down into turn 1. Look at the Red Bull got to the inside there. But can't quite make it stick. Look at that. Jargo's trying to go wheel to wheel with Rogue Smithy. As Rogue Smithy gets his muscles out and stays in P3 then. The AlphaTauri try puts him under pressure as we've got more squabbles in the midfield. Already a yellow flag down there. Looks like Martin has gone for a spin with JDM. Looks like they've both made contact as well. Not good news for JDM. As he's on those soft compound tyres looking to progress his way through the field, but that'll be unlikely now down there in last place. Look at these two going side by side. Vettel versus Langfall there as we remain side by side out of turn 8 with the DRS zone. No DRS until lap 3 of the Grand Prix then as they go wheel to wheel. Which one of them is going to be late on the brakes going down into turn 9? How brave and confident we're going to feel here. But look at this, MDJ trying to go around the outside of Berimi too. Down the inside goes Vettel on Langfall, and MDJ is getting enough space and enough respect as Berimi tries to go around the outside and now has to the inside line. But I think Berimi's going to back out of this. Does he back out of this? They go side by side, make contact, and MDJ already gets a 3-second time penalty. Neither driver willing to yield as Berimi's demoted down into P6, and now got Vettel all over the back of his gearbox then. So neither driver willing to yield there, and one of them paid the consequences. And here we are on the straight once again then with Berimi. It looks like MDJ making a move on Dragon, so MDJ making moves already as we go into turn 18. Then the braking zone, bit of contact there between the front left and the right rear, and we go side by side with Vettel making up places. Berimi looks like he's struggling, and he's been overtaken by Vettel too. And here we are side by side on the straight with Berimi and Vettel going down into turn 1. And let's see how this battle unfolds. Bit of contact there with the front end and the side pod going into 2 and going into 3 there. They broke the DRS gap already. Look at Vettel's lost the rear of the car and he hits the wall. And he might have lost his front wing too. And some people also scraped the wall, trying to take avoid action with Vettel's spin. Oh, look at that. You can see that Norris almost got wiped out there by Laser going around the outside. And look at Laser trying to go up the inside. Oh, smoke then as they make our way down into turn 7. We go. Looks like an Alfa Romeo Ferrari spun. And the VSC has been deployed. I think somebody hit the wall at the exit of the corner. Or they were very close to indeed. But a virtual safety car has been deployed. JDM and Martin are in the pit lane to get rid of their tyres to put on a brand new wing, or generally a brand new set of tyres because they're way farther down the order. Unfortunately for those two making contact, but Cesaro's got a decent gap so far. 1 second ahead of Rogue Smithy and Hurricane, and MDJ's in P4 with that 3-second time penalty lingering over his shoulders, and that'll have a massive effect towards the end of the Grand Prix too. And Yagumar's joined the back of the session, and where is he? He's currently down in the P17 unfortunately for the Haas driver is Yagumar. But can Harry Kane as Berimi gets a drive-through penalty. So this has not been a good race for Berimi. He lost a few positions as Nordus, Vettel and Burmeister scrapping away. Burmeister inside the top 10. And here we are, wheel to wheel on the straight then as we make our way down towards the heavy breaker zone. Looks like Rogue Smith is under pressure from his teammate there. And here we are with the multi-car battle going up the inside as the Alpine. And both Williams are switching positions for third place. And looks like it's been orchestrated. Berimi is in the pit lane to serve his drive-through penalty. Off into the pit lane he goes then. And not a good race whatsoever as my thing's been glitched. I can't have changed. There we go. As we go side by side into turn 1 with Burmeister. And Janetti we go. It's going to get squeezed on the apex there. But still enough room to try and go side by side. But Burmeister wins that battle. Look at the Alpine. Almost losing traction there. As he tries to use a bit of EUS, you want to be very careful with your battery as well. You don't want to use it in the wrong places there. Otherwise, you'll end up spinning. And look at that. Who's that ahead of us? That's Vettel, who's lost. Looks like he's lost some downforce in that Alpine. The car doesn't want to turn in. He did hit the wall at the exit of turn 3. It's not evident the front wing damage. No M player is missing, but it might be yellow as Burmeister gets a free place and puts himself up into P9. Now Vettel might be fighting back here with a Burmeister with the other Alpine. Might go 3 abreast on this straight as we go down into turn 11 we go. And let's see what happens between these 3 cars. Vettel up to P9 still, but I suspect he's got some front wing damage, has the Alpine driver. Burmeister is battling away with the other Alpine, and here we go into the chicane here, this little section, and they're trying to keep it on the track, and here comes Nordus trying to come around the outside now, but backs out of it wisely, and Burmeister and Tsuneji getting out the corner unscathed and together, without having to go off the track. It looks like Harry Kane is having a bit of a struggle trying to get in DRS range of Hazara. He had very close in qualifying, but unfortunately not close enough in the race to get in DRS range. Now he is, but how much battery has he used to try and get closer towards Hazara? Will Vettel end up in the pit lane? Looks like he has got some front wing damage, but it's not evident. It might be just light, but it still affects the aerodynamics of the car and the way you turn in. Lays and Langfeld swapping places into turn 1, and off the track goes the Aston Martin of Nordus. The car just wouldn't brake or wouldn't slow down. And Zhao could just hit the back of Rogue Smithy there. So it looks like these guys in Miami are partying too hard and getting argy-bargy with each other. But it looks like Rogue Smithy is under massive pressure from Jaugen then. They both have the DRS to back of MDJ. Which one of these two will come out in front of each other then as we go wheel to wheel with the Norwegian. Look at that, he's swapping places there. Rogue Smithy really pushed him to the inside, closed the door, and now Drago has to go around the outside, getting their elbows high, goes off the track and has to stay behind in 5th place there. We've seen plenty of that in the races with Lewis Hamilton, Magnussen and Hulkenberg there, and also Alonso and Ocon too. Plenty of battles going on around the track, but not for the lead of the Grand Prix. Looks like Hazara and Harry Kane have checked out. Not a usual scenario here in SFR. You usually see a big DRS train, but this track is very difficult. And MDJ in 3rd place there, keeping protection. Rogue Smithy once again shoving Jargo to the inside. And now as we go into turn 18 we go. Let's see which one of those two will come out in front of each other there. And Rogue Smithy gets better traction out the corner, which allows him to outdrag him. And here comes Jargon once again. There's a Ferrari who's gone for a spin. That's Zenum, unfortunately for him, as the Alpine and Aston Martin swapping places. They're going wheel to wheel now. Haas in the pit lane. Not quite sure who that is. It's Smoke in the pit lane, so I suspect he's got some front wing damage because it is really early to pit at this stage in the Grand Prix. So plenty of action then. There is the Haas getting a new nose. And on the soft compound tyre he goes for a middle stint before he goes on to the hards or the mediums then to complete his last stint. So these are tense battles going on for P3 here. Rogue Smithy being the protector of MDJ, and it's not somebody's made a mistake. Who is that? Is there a crash? It's the Alpine's gone for a spin. That is Chinechi in P14, and who is that? That's Burmeister. Burmeister's also gone for a spin. He was in P10 and unfortunately has lost out. He's down in 16th place. Did those two make contact because they were side by side on the straight? And we've got plenty of action going on to this field. It's not really been a clean race. Here comes Jaguar out of the inside of Adams there. But Vettel as well, who stays in 8th place for the time being. Laser and Langfeld having their own scrap for P6 and P7. But Jaugen, last week's race winner, is stuck behind Rogue Smithy and he can't get past him. He's tried a few times, but Rogue Smithy keeps showing him the wall and the inside line. and the door is firmly shut in his face. But however, ooh, what's happened here with the Ferrari's gone for a spin? Will that cause a safety car, I wonder, with a bit of debris on the track? He's lost his end plate, but gets back on the track with no further implications. However, ooh, I want to keep an eye on all these battles, but there's battles everywhere. Here we are in the final 2 corners we go, with Adam side by side with Yagamal reclaiming P9. We all know Yagamal should be quick at this stage because they're on the medium compound tyres. We go down into turn 1 we go with the Haas and Mercedes bumping wheels. Not the first time we've seen Haas and Mercedes going side by side and bumping wheels, with Kevin Magnussen and Lewis Hamilton scrapping away. But Yagamal gets ahead of Adams there, stays in P9 for the time being, and keeps hold of his position there. So we've seen plenty of battles on this circuit then. And whoever's commented in the chat, I can't quite see a comment. I tried to refresh it, but unfortunately it won't let me see it then. So hopefully it's a nice comment and not anything offensive. As the Alpine goes for a spin again, they both were inside the top. In fact, Soneji made a lot of places. Ginetti made a lot of places. Oh, Yakimal's dropped down the order now. So it looks like a lot of people are struggling in this Grand Prix. There's a Ferrari going very slowly on the straight there. There's a lot of action to keep up, you know. I want to keep an eye on every single driver, but I've only got 2 eyes and 1 camera angle. And here we are then. Harry Kane has caught the back of Zara, so it looks like he was dipping out of DRS, but he's caught the race leader. And this should be an interesting scrap between P1 and P2. However, the battle for P3 looking very spicy indeed between these 3. 2 Williams and an AlphaTauri tried to fight with each other. Was Rogue Smithy a bit too aggressive with the likes of Draugen? Or was it just fair and square and but hard racing at the same time as Rogue Smithy there keeping the back of MDJ? Already picking up a 3-second time penalty in this Grand Prix after corner cutting. Trying to scrap with the likes, I think it was Bearimi at the time. Bearimi's down in 40th place after serving his drive-through penalty after he picked it up in the Virtual Safety Car period, as Zenum there might retire as he picked up a lot of penalties, and he's in the pit lane right now. Yes, he has retired in the pit lane, so no safety car for the time being. As you can see, Rogue Smithy's all over the back of his teammate there. They're both in a party working together, so it'll be orchestrated team orders of what these two decide to do with each other. As Rogue Smithy turns off his DRS, not going for the move. Yes, he is then in the braking zone. The best place to swap positions is on the straight, but not in the braking zone because you lose a lot of time in the braking zones there. So was it a late call saying MDJ, go past me now? And we'll work together in the DRS to try and keep Draugen at bay. And now Rogue Smithy is the leader of this DRS train. In 3rd place he goes. And Yagamal and Lord Daddy Boy swapping places in the middle sector there, with the Yagamal losing the back end of the car. But on board, for the battle of the lead, Harry Kane was so close, but I think he's trying to save some ERS and stay behind Azara, playing the long game before we go on the medium compound tyres. And here we are with the 3 of them. Draugen on the curb, literally trying to look for a way past MDJ, but can't quite make it stick. However, Laser and Langfeld going side by side there. Oh, we've got more changes in the midfield then with Lord Danny Boy, Nordus and Bearimi. Bearimi trying to make a lost ground after he picked up that drive-through penalty. But you know what? In terms of improvement for next game, in the spectator menu, why not have replays, etc.? Because it's really hard to focus on what's happening out there. What about a split screen if you had the choice? Like, have more options on these buttons. There we go. To identify which driver is who, but it looks like Draugen's all over the back of MDJ, so it looks like Rogue Smithy's pulled away from MDJ, which is very surprising indeed. And Adams and Vettel swapping positions, but I want to see what happens to these two. Has MDJ been dropped out of the DRS range, as once again he has shown the wall on the inside and he's trying to go around the outside? Didn't make it stick on Rogue Smithy, but what about MDJ? He's desperate to get past one of the Williams so he can split them up and not help each other in the DRS, but Draugen has to bail out once again then. These two really showing the door towards Draugen, and the Alpine goes off the track because I don't think he's got any front wing, has he? No, he hasn't, lost his wing. And Nordus and Yagamal take advantage of the Alpine as Nordus gives a slight love tap towards Yagamal, as he'll have DRS there, but Vettel should get out of the way because it's not really... Here we are then, the battle for P3. MDJ gets ahead of Rogue Smithy as both Williams there swapping places once again. That was very nip and tuck there between both Williams, almost out of DRS range of each other, but luckily MDJ still goes back in. You can always tell Rogue Smithy to slow down just in case he's dipping out of DRS range, as Vettel then it should be in the pit lane. a great qualifying in P8 for Vettel, but unfortunately lost his wing. And Lord Danny Boy and at last they're battling their way for P13, it looks like it was. But Lord Danny Boy has the position to himself. So the battle for the lead is interesting. Hazara still remains in the lead ahead of Harry Kane. These two putting away absolute dream. They don't have anything to worry about whatsoever. They could just do what they want to do with each other in P1 and P2 without having to worry about guys behind, making moves, etc. But here we are. MDJ, Rogue Smithy once again, side by side. MDJ's derated as we go into the corner of turn 11. Have they dropped Jargon out of DRS? It looks like they have. As you can see, Rogue Smithy back up into third place here. Can it be Rogue Smithy's first podium? He's got a decent gap over the rest, and plus MDJ gets a 3-second time penalty. We know that Red Bull, in terms of SFR, are free to race and don't have any team orders. But what about Williams there? We know MDJ's got a 3-second time penalty, and Hazara and Harry Kane swap places there. The two Norwegians scrapping out for P1 and P2, and here we are with the Williams of MDJ going past once again of his teammate. Both working well so far with each other. And here comes Laser and Lang for their own personal scrap for P6 and P7. Laser goes up the inside and takes P6 away. But this pack split up. I think we had a massive field spread in the early stages because I think people went side by side early stages and they couldn't make it out unscathed. Some of them hit the wall trying to go side by side. I think it was Vettel who broke with the DRS trade, didn't he? And also Berimi too, as he had to go in the pit lane to serve his drive-through penalty by speeding under VSC. But it looks like Berimi was dropping backwards then, and he's currently putting pressure on Jagermal ahead of him as we watch these three continue to squabble out for third place there, with Rogue Smithy all over the back of MDJ. This is Rogue Smithy's biggest chance to get a podium here in SFR. Can he do it? And here we are on the straight once again. They're both saving battery, they're both turning off the ERS, they're both trying to keep oh, look at Jarl going up the inside. Is he going to do it? Yes, he is then. And let's see if he makes the corner. Yes, he does. Bit of a love tap there between himself and Rogue Smithy. Rogue Smithy this time is off the track. Bit more contact going in the field, but none of them is backing out. It's all or nothing between these guys here. And once again, both Williams being a roadblock and a wall, staying P3 and P4. However, looks like an Alpine's gone for a spin there. And it was Ginetti, unfortunately, down at turn 2. But here we are with Harry Kane and Hazara. They don't have to worry about any undercuts. And here comes Rogue Smithy up the inside of MDJ again. We'll see both Williams constantly swapping places as they try and keep the AlphaTauri at bay. And there is an Alpine who is causing yellow flags out there. Might not be beneficial for one Williams, although they've got a big gap behind. And the Norwegians in the chat trying to support their OWR drivers of Harry Kane. Hazara is Norwegian, but he's not in OWR. So can Harry Kane get a victory here? He missed out in Qatar due to the two-stop strategy, which wasn't in his favours towards the end of the Grand Prix. Atlas and Lord Danny Boy obviously both in OWR, as their boys keep an eye on each other. As once again an Alpine, it looks like he's really struggling in this race. And Gianetti's gone for another spin somewhere. I can't speak your language, mate, unfortunately, in the comments. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what you're both saying, but obviously I think you're both supporting your drivers. But here is MDJ once again swapping places there with Rogue Smithy. Oh, Jargon there getting a bit sideways into the corner. He is so frustrated. I can imagine. Oh, JDM's retired. JDM is out of the race. Is that a safety car? I don't think it is, you know. Given the place where it is at turn 3, it's in the way. But I'm not quite sure if it's. No, it's not a safety car, so no safety car deployed. And that's Copo and Lord Danny Boy is swapping places once again. We've seen some action-packed race here in Miami. Not the usual DRS trade, it must be said. We've got private battles everywhere on the circuit. As JD has left the session. And there is a safety car! So, who has caused that? Let's have a quick scroll of see who caused that safety car. Somebody's lost their front wing, because that's usually what happened. Who's lost their wing? It can't be for JDM surely, because that is a delayed safety car. I don't think anybody has hit the wall. Looks like all 17 drivers are okay for the time being, as I quickly flick on board with all of them. Every single driver will be in the pit lane because it's the time to pit, whether you are mediums or hards. New tyres are beneficial at this stage, but I don't think. Yeah, no, I don't understand why the safety car is out unless it's a delayed safety car for JDM. because usually the safety car comes out immediately or 2 seconds afterwards. But the top two then will be in the pit lane, and unfortunately for Rogue Smithy, he has had to double stack. So one of the Williams paid the price, but he only lost one place there because the rest of the guys were split apart from each other, detached from the rest of them. But what a Miami Grand Prix this has been so far. We've got more action to come. We've still got plenty of laps left to go in this race. I bet there's the safety car parked up waiting for the two leaders. Obviously the safety car caught up with Max Verstappen because they thought Max Verstappen was the lead Grand Prix leader. I don't know why the safety car did that, but yeah, it almost ruined Max Verstappen what it did. But at the same time, I was could have pitted if again for the mediums if he had another set of mediums to go on to towards the end of the Grand Prix. But now the safety car is out, I am absolutely desperate to go to the toilet because I've been drinking a lot of water, trying to stay hydrated and also keep my voice intact as well. But the top two pit, and I will be going for a pit stop to the toilet. Safety car is in at the end of the pit lane as we all could take a short break, come to an end. So Hurricane needs the Grand Prix ahead of Hazara as he did overtake him a lap or two before the safety car came out. And we'll see then how this unfolds. Every single driver is bunched up together. They were separated apart after the first stint, had a distant gap between each other, but now they're back together. Is there going to be any more chaos and contact? It's all 17 drivers, one of them has picked up a penalty, which is MDJ. What about Baby? Can he get himself back towards the front of the field? We'll about to find out. I bet Jargood is really happy that he got himself in between both Williams. But we'll see what happens in the second half of the race. And we can get racing there once again. And off away we go for Hurricane as he leads Hazara. I think Hazara's been caught napping just a bit there as he might be under pressure from MDJ. As we make our way down towards turn 1, is there any moves? Laser looks like he's close to the back of Rogue Smithy, but can't quite make an impression so far. Who's that in the background looking for a overtake? Can't quite pull it off, whoever that was. Burmeister though is going side by side with Smoke. As a nice move there from Burmeister. We know that the Haas of Smoke went for an alternate strategy, so we went from mediums to hards, whereas the rest of them went from hards to mediums. And both Haas's there on the hard compound tyre, but look at this, Rogue Smithy's been overtaken. Has overtaken Jargon. Looks like Jargon's made a mistake. And Rogue Smithy's capitalised, he's gone up into 4th place again. So Jargon, who was desperately trying to fight Rogue Smithy, and here comes MDJ on Hazara. Look at this as we go down into turn 11. He's up into P2 now, splitting them apart, and up into P2 then. So it looks like MDJ's found some pace after that safety car and managed to catch Hazara, and Hurricane, who had a big gap over the rest of the field. Lovely stuff indeed there for MDJ in a prime position, but he has got that 3-second time penalty to his name, which will definitely cost him towards the end of the Grand Prix. But some more yellow flags in the background there. Smoke has gone for a spin, it looks like, on the curb, or has made contact with the inside wall of turn 13. But MDJ looking racy, looking really feisty. He's all over the back of Hurricane. Rogue Smithy also puts in Hazara under pressure. So the top two, who were miles ahead, looks like they're coming under pressure from the guys behind. Jark has been dropped as well by Rogue Smithy. Out of the DRS he goes as we make our way down on this short straight, the main straight, as we go down into turn 1. DRS should be enabled on the next lap, I think, but it's going to be a really interesting battle between the top 4. Jargood's outside the DRS then, so it looks like he was putting both Williams under pressure, and Rogue Smithy's made a mistake. I saw him slide out of turn 3 it was, and he's lost a bit of time towards Hazara. He's back in the clutches of Jargood. So Rogue Smithy's mistake has cost him DRS there, and that's a crucial mistake because it's so hard to get back in DRS range. Oh, MDJ slithers and slides out of turn 8, and Hazara once again putting that Williams under massive pressure as we make our way down this middle straight here. But looks like MDJ is using the battery defense to keep ahead Hazara because he pulled a few tenths away once he was under pressure because Hazara was all over the back of him. But MDJ must have applied that battery in the Williams. We know MDJ uses a lot of battery. He's not really been one in terms of saving ERS, is MDJ, but I wonder how much battery he's used in that Williams there to try and keep ahead of Hazara and get closer towards Hurricane. But now he's in the DRS range. In the last few laps of this Grand Prix, he could try and save some battery ready for attack mode towards the end. And we've got more contact going on there. Lord Danny Boy has gone for a spin at the exit of 13 heading to 14, and it's really cashed a lot of people out here as we go into the final 2 corners. We go MDJ settles behind. I like to call this the final corner, I don't know why, because obviously these two are the final corner, but it's the last breaker zone, isn't it, in turn 18 there. Here we are, the DRS has been enabled. Rogue Smithy is not able to get back in DRS range of Hazara, so that mistake, that simple mistake, has cost him dearly, and it's going to be a long way from there to get back in DRS range unless he uses a lot of battery, of course. Bear with me, is up to P9, trying to make amends after he's drive through a penalty earlier in this stint. And Jargon, who's got 1 Williams ahead of him, the other Williams has pulled away. And now starting to put pressure on Rogue Smithy. He has once again done a great job so far, has Rogue Smithy. Can Rogue Smithy help his teammate though, because he's 1.7 seconds away from Hazara, and if that gap gets 3 seconds, over 3 seconds, it might help him stay in P3. But here we are on the straight. It looks like Hazara's gaining the rate of knots on MDJ, but MDJ has him covered. Look at that. He has used a lot of battery. As Jargon gets past Rogue Smithy, he goes up into 4th place. Both Williams have used a lot of battery. A sufficient amount of battery to be low on ERS already. You can tell they're really pushing there, and MDJ and Hazara, MDJ and Rogue Smithy are low on battery, of course. Vettel and Martin scrapping away as we go into 12, 13, 14 and 16. This is where Vettel hit the corner in qualifying. As he hops and skips over the curb, they can catch a lot of people over. Here comes MDJ for the lead of the Grand Prix. He puts himself into the lead for the first time in this race. It was very unlikely, but due to that safety car, it's helped bunch up the pack, and he puts himself into P1, but we know he's still on the ERS though, so Hurricane has the advantage on battery. However, squabbles further down. Beremy tries to attack Nordus, but couldn't quite pay it off in turn 17. Now on the straight we go. Nordus is derating as we make our way down into turn 1 we go. Let's see if Beremy makes a move up the inside. No, he stays behind for the time being of the Norwegian of Nordus. But great scraps and battles going on indeed there between these guys. Dragon's 2 seconds away from Azara there and Hurricane. So Roguesmith's mistake has really cost himself and out of DRS range. You can see Hurricane there really in the back of MDJ, puts him under all sorts of pressure there. But he's being hounded by Hazara behind too, is Hurricane. He's got to think about attacking and defending, being in the middle of the two there. As Hurricane does pull out. It doesn't look like he's using DRS, now it does. Sometimes it looks like it was closed because of the angle of it. But as now we come into turn 11 we go. Hurricane takes the lead back away from MDJ. The top three will be scrapping away for the remainder of this race unless something major happens, of course, as Beremy does get past orders. He puts himself up into 9th place there, does Beremy. But the drive to penalty for the VSC incident for Beremy has helped Hurricane as he's able to pull away from the championship and decides who will be the lead Red Bull towards the last stages of the season. MDJ though goes back into P1 and he settles in for the time being as Hurricane. He knows he's got lots of battery, I presume. He's very good on saving ERS, is Hurricane, whereas MDJ is quite the opposite. As Hazara there all over the back of Hurricane as we make our way down into turn 1 we go. But they all remain in formation for the time being. There is Roguesmithy and Beremy, that's Dragon, sorry, coming towards turn 1. And Vettel is out of the race and unfortunately has retired. So that becomes the 4th driver in the Miami Grand Prix to crash out. And there's no safety car for the time being. In fact, he hasn't crashed out, has he? That car's still moving. I'm not quite sure that the car was moving there, but unless he pressed retired on the menu and the cost, I'm not quite sure what happened to Vettel there. But here we are then on the short straight heading down into 11. Hurricane once again swaps places with MDJ and here comes Hazara. Will he fancy move up the inside? No, we can't do for the time being. Hazara is in the worst place now in P3 because these two swap in DRS range, whereas Hazara having to stay in P3 and Burmeister, they're both Aston Martins squabble away for P10 and P11 there as Burmeister wins in that battle for the time being, trying to hunt down Beremy, who's on the back of Adams, is currently running in 8th place there. Langfell still in 7th place, doing a good job there as he was fighting with Laser majority through this race, but Laser is currently now in a battle with Roguesmith. Here comes MDJ then. No, he doesn't, he stays behind for the time being. Do you know what MDJ should do is focus on his battery. He should stay behind Hurricane if he can. Try and keep Hazard behind him, but at the same time try and regenerate some of that lost battery in the Williams there, because towards the end of the Grand Prix he will not have the battery and somebody's made a mistake. That's Beremy who has made a mistake, and he's spun and he's backwards as well. Oh yes, thankfully he did not hit the wall there because he could have lost his front wing. But Hazara there is round the back of MDJ as we make our way down into turn 4 and turn 5 we go through these mid-speed corners. And Hazara might fancy a move up the inside. We don't really see overtakers here unless people on different tyres. But what a move there from Hazara. He had the grip, the confidence to do that in that corner. Incredible speed indeed from the Alfa Romeo driver. So MDJ is demoted down into 3rd place there. But look at this. He's coming back immediately on Hazara. As we head into turn 11 we go. Hazara is late to the brakes as they go side by side in the corner. MDJ tussling it out between the two. But he has to back out there. No room on the outside. However, Dragon versus Roguesmithy once again. And Dragon stays. Oh, he's actually up into P4 then. So he goes up into P4. Oh, that's the Williams. Oh, Williams has spawned. He's hit the wall. That's MDJ. Our championship leader is down into P7 after a big mistake there, and now Dragon's promoted into P3. That's big consequences for MDJ. What happened? Did somebody hit him? Did he drop it on the exit of the curb? Did the back end step out? I'm not quite sure. But now, once again, Hazara and Hurricane are left to squabble it out for P1 and P2. And yeah, MDJ's race towards near the end of the season hasn't gone his way, especially Qatar as well. Starts to make some mistakes now and there is DJ. Now Rogue Smithy is attacking Dragon. This is a big opportunity for Rogue Smithy now to get a podium up the inside into 1, but Dragon is around the outside, has the inside for 2 as they swap around again into 3, but Dragon carries more speed around the outside. There's Laser, and I know I say it every race, but can Laser finally get a podium? He's behind the two drivers ahead of him, who's currently occupying P3 and P4. Has DJ sustained any damage on that front wing? Has he got unscathed? Can he rejoin in this battle for P3? That's the biggest question. Maybe Rogue Smithy can slow him down too. But now the top 2 are left to fight it out. Here comes Azara for the lead of this Grand Prix. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens towards the nearest stages now. These 2 are left alone. And here comes Rogue Smithy on Jargon once again as they go wheel to wheel into 11. Trying to keep it nice and clean, trying to give each other enough respect and room. None of them willing to yield in this one, as Rogue Smithy does yield. Very wise indeed, because you don't want to pick up a penalty or crash on the inside there into 12, 13, 14 and 15 and 16 as well. But you can see that Rogue Smithy was very close to the wall on his front right tyre, but makes it out unscathed. But he's quite low on battery, is Rogue Smithy in the Williams then, so is he going to play the same tactic of try and stay in the DRS range and try and regenerate some of that lost battery? It's a high pressure situation as both Aston Martins swap places again, but it's a high pressure situation because you're trying to focus on one guy ahead of you and try and keep the other guy behind you. But you got to use the battery to try and keep the guy behind you too, because he wants to pounce on you, because you don't want to be stuck in that DRS train. So Rogue Smithy's got to think about this tactically and see where he can try and defend from Laser and anticipate his movements coming towards him and try and save battery at the same time. We've got about 6 laps left to go in this race, and it's spicing up as well. The battle for P1 and the battle for P3, but looks like Hazara started to drop Harry Kane ever so slightly. Did Harry make a mistake? Is Hazara using that battery there? But however, Harry does have the DRS to keep a contention towards Hazara too, as the battle for P3 continues between Dragon and Rogue Smithy. And here he is once again. Does he go to the inside? Yes he does. Into T11 he goes. I think Dragon just lets him go there, knowing he's got the DRS for the next straight. Doesn't want to scrap it out too hard just in case they come into contact, and therefore the guys behind like Langfell and Laser take advantage of the 2. He must be so frustrated for Langfell and Laser to be stuck in that DRS, and Harry Kane is right to the back of Hazara once again, going out straight there, but I don't think he'll go for an overtake just yet. Trying to save some battery later on in the race too, ready for attack mode. As here we are between the 2 Norwegian drivers, into turn 17 we go, as Harry Kane does stay behind for the time being. Who is going to win this Grand Prix? Will it be Harry or will it be Hazara? Harry will try and win this, you know, obviously, because he's tried to go for a championship where Hazara is a reserve driver. So although we've all got pride and we all like to win a Grand Prix if the opportunity is there, so these 2 will scrap out quite hard. But at the same time, Harry's got to be careful not to make contact with a reserve driver too. It looks like some people in this train have made a mistake there. I can see some people going out wide in terms of Dragon himself going out wide, which gave Rogue Smithy a bit of breathing space with about 8 tenths to spare. But I don't think he can break the DRS. Look at that, Rogue Smithy's really pushing, by the way. The gap is a second. He's got himself out of DRS range. And here we are, out of turn 7. The gap is over a second. So Rogue Smithy has broke the DRS towards Dragon. Dragon does not have the DRS just yet. Here is the DRS line, and he doesn't have it. But I think he's trying to use some battery to get himself back in DRS range. Yes, he is there. So he's trying to use some battery there. He's Dragon. So momentarily, it looks like Rogue Smithy might have broke the DRS range and had a bit of breathing space to go with it. But unfortunately for him, he's still got Dragon to contend with. And still low on battery as these 2 Aston Martins continue to fight away, the Dutchman versus the Norwegian. And also the Dutchman versus the Norwegian in the championship. But Dragon once again is out of DRS range towards Smithy. Is Dragon carrying some sort of issue? Did he tap the wall somewhere? Because he's losing a lot of time in the corners as Rogue Smithy is pulling away, but he is derating on the straight. And here comes the other Williams of MDJ up the inside, but Langfell is late to the brakes and he stays in P6 then. So good defensive skills there from Langfell to keep ahead of MDJ. But Rogue Smithy in P3. There's 4 laps left to go. Can the Canadian Scouser finally get on the podium? And Laser is putting pressure on Dragon ahead of him. Dragon cannot keep in the pace range of Rogue Smithy, and he's under pressure himself from Laser behind too. This could be very spicy now towards the end of the Grand Prix. A 5.4 km track, 4 laps to go, avoiding all the walls around here, which is very hard indeed. 100% concentration. Can Rogue Smithy stay in P3? Got to make sure he doesn't pick up a 3-second time penalty. Got to make sure he doesn't run over the curbs there as well. And Jargon, as you can see, gaining back on the straight, but is it enough to gain back in the DRS range? Which it isn't, as Bear Ruby sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix for a consolation point in P16 there. But once again, these two are scrapping away for P1 and P2. Once again, has broke away from the rest of the field. Rogue Smith is carrying a lot of pace with him tonight, isn't he? In the Williams there, trying to keep Jargon outside the 1 second range of DRS. And MDJ picks up another penalty, so any chance of a podium has definitely gone. Unfortunately for him, and Hazara and Hurricane swap places for P1 and P2. 4 laps left to go in this Grand Prix. Which one of these two is going to win? The championship contender of Hurricane or the reserve driver of Hazara? It would have been so interesting to see what Hazara could have done. If he was a full-time driver, he would definitely the championship fight indeed. The Aston Martin says scrubbing away for P10 with the Haasman behind. The safety car did come out quite early, like in Qatar, but this time I don't think there should be any tyre concerns for this Grand Prix. Any fuel concerns out the window because we had a virtual and a safety car. But in terms of tyres, these tyres won't be good, but they shouldn't be too bad towards the end of the Grand Prix, so they should be okay towards the end of this race. And no puncture concerns like it was back in Qatar, with a few people on 90% tyres. And Hazara then putting pressure on Hurricane in front of us with 3 laps left to go in this Grand Prix. As we make our way down into turn 11 we go. What are these two going to do with each other? Like, who is going to be first in the final lap of the Grand Prix? Because you've got 3 DRS zones coming up, and MDJ is side by side with Langfeld. Then as we make our way down into 11 we go. He was close to the back of the tap in the back of Laser. His former championship rival Langfeld is on the outside. Now has the inside. Both make contact here, and MDJ does get the position and stay ahead. Fair hard racing for the two, but one of them had to back out or else contact would have been made. In the foreground you can barely see him, but here is Hazara and Hurricane once again scrapping away. What's going to happen towards the end of this Grand Prix between the two? Jargon is trying to get back in the DRS range. He's been dipping in and out of it. Every single lap he's been out of DRS range, then getting back in it somehow. Maybe he's got a good straight line speed, but in terms of cornering speed, just can't quite seem to stay within touching distance between Rogue Smithy and himself. And however, Hurricane just survived the threat from Hazara out behind. I assume they've both got good ERS management in their disposal, because they don't have to use it, of course, because they're fighters swapping DRSs, so it shouldn't be low on battery should Hurricane or Hazara. Didn't use a lot of it in the early stages either, did the 2 Norwegian drivers, whereas MDJ did. But so the gap between MDJ and Adams is 5.2 seconds, if I want to say, if my maths are correct, and he's got a 6-second time penalty. So can he build the gap over Adams and lose 1 place towards Langfeld? Hazara there still on the back of Hurricane, as you expect, into turn 11, but not willing to go through it yet. Maybe just waiting for the final laps of this Grand Prix. Second place will have the advantage of the DRS, of course. 3 DRS zones to go around here. Can Hurricane keep him at bay if it does come to that decider? But Rogue Smithy then is not out of DRS range then of Jargon. So Jargon lost some pace but found some indeed and kept in touching distance of Rogue Smithy. However, going side by side, it's never going to end well here in that chicane. And looks like Burmeister got his elbows out and defended from Yakimo. It helped Nordis too, because Nordis has pulled away from this pack and has broken the DRS, but both Haas's, of course, on hard compound tyres, so their tyres shouldn't be too bad. Well, they should be better than the mediums, of course, at this stage, the crossover point between the mediums and the hard compound tyres. But lap 28-29, Hurricane still leads, but it won't look like that. It won't look like that until the final lap of the Grand Prix train ahead of Hazara. No safety cars can influence this race either. Atlas Copo has reversed into the wall as he's gone for a spin. And who else that's smoking a pit lane? Probably got on a brand new set of softs to go for the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, which is occupied by Bear me down to 16th place there. Not the race Bear we had whatsoever, fortunately for him. Too many mistakes, and that has a big consequence for himself in the championship. However, his Red Bull teammate hasn't got it easy between himself and Hazara. It's all going to come down. And MDJ has overtaken Laser. He goes up into turn 11 there, ahead of the McLaren driver. He is derating on this straight. I think, yeah, Rogue Smithy can't help MDJ because he's got a 6-second time penalty. So Rogue Smithy needs to focus on himself now. There's no point focusing on his championship antagonist there because he's got a 6-second time penalty. Hazara though does not go for the overtake into 17, so it's going to go down to the wire on the last lap of this Grand Prix. Can Harry Kane defend from Hazara? Hazara will have the DRS on the 3 straights there as Langford overtakes Laser, so he's demoted into P7. Unfortunately is the Brits there, but MDJ then putting pressure on Jargon once again. Rogue Smithy has broke the DRS. Keep it calm, Rogue Smithy, now. There's no need to make any silly mistakes. You're almost there. You're almost on your way home to pick up a podium. Plus, if MDJ continues to put pressure on Jargon, it'll help Rogue Smithy pull away too. So Martin Burmeister scrapping away. Martin getting himself inside the top 10 ahead of Burmeister, but this is the battle we need to see between Hazara and Harry Kane. We'll turn off the telemetry, we'll turn off everything to watch these two go hammer and tong on the final lap of this Grand Prix. Where will Hazara strike? Is it now? Is it towards turn 17? It looks like it's now, by the way. Here comes Hazara side by side with Harry Kane going into turn 11, and he decides to overtake there, but Harry Kane having the DRS on the back straight. Will he pounce back going into turn 17 there? Hazara there takes the lead of the Grand Prix, but will he stay there? Harry Kane got to make sure he doesn't make any mistakes in these corners, these slow speed corners. As out the corner we go, Harry Kane is right behind Hazara. He will have the helping hand of the DRS. The 2 Norwegians going battling out for the lead of the Grand Prix in Miami. As Hazara sitting on the battery, but here comes Harry Kane then. He's forced to the outside and he's got enough straight line speed. Oh, they make contact and Harry Kane's in the wall! And Hazara there outbreaks himself and he spins. Harry Kane has spun and Hazara will come across the line to win the Grand Prix. What major controversy towards the end of the Grand Prix. Harry Kane will finish in 2nd place there. I'm not quite sure what was going on between Hazara. He just outbroke himself and tagged Harry Kane. And Rogue Smithy for the first time in SFR this season, he'll pick up a podium. Fantastic job from the Canadian Scouser. What a race for him. Finally gets a podium. Hard work, patience pays off in the end for Rogue Smithy. The man who's down in P18 in the championship will finally get a lot of points added to his tally. MDJ is demoted to P7. Will Harry Kane be... I think he will be bothered, but he knows he's pulled a gap over MDJ. And for the 2nd time in a row, Harry Kane does not win this race after looking like he had the chance to, especially in Qatar as well. But what a race this Miami Grand Prix has shown us. Both Norwegians made contact going into turn 17. Hazara was just too late on the brakes. He's running no assist, so must have missed his reference point. But I dare say he should have gave the place back because he made contact with him. And Harry Kane was too busy scooping up his car. I thought he was going to lose P2 towards Rogue Smithy there and Dragon too. If he lost the podium, that's absolutely tragic there for Harry Kane, doing nothing wrong. He didn't even move on the braking, I don't think. It's just Hazara just outbroke himself and smashed into the back of Harry Kane. But they're on the podium, so let's see what their thoughts are during after the Grand Prix. I know one of them's in the party right now, and it's understandable why. And he completely deserves it too. And we'll start from P3 upwards like we always do. So I'm going to tag Harry Kane. I'm not quite sure if he's mad right now because he has the right to be angry after what Hazara did. Let's see if the 2 Norwegian boys join the party and try and keep it civil. You don't really see any mistakes like that from Hazara or Harry Kane. Both nice people, both quick drivers indeed. As Atlas Copo says, the worst track on the calendar. I can agree too. I don't really like this circuit. And some people were struggling with tyres as well. But instead of keeping Rogue Smithy waiting, let's start with him. Rogue Smithy, you fought like a lion out there throughout the whole race, keeping Jargon at bay. You had Jargon in your tail throughout the whole race, including before and after the safety car as well. How does it feel to finally get a podium this season? And you deserve it too.
A deserved podium in my opinion. I don't want to sound too cocky, it's been a long time coming. I think Qatar could have happened and a bit of unlucky with the safety car, but I'm really happy with that.
What's changed with Rogue Smithy in the last few races now towards this race? Because you've been really rapid in the last few races and you're finally showing it what you're capable of.
Probably the fact that I'm so close to the penalty point that I'm just getting a season ban. I'm just going, no, I've just got to race clean, race fair, race quick, and I've done exactly that for the rest of this season. So,
despite being close to a penalty, a ban, you were very close with Dragon there, defending like a lion against him too. So, even though you were close to penalty, you're not willing to back down at all. You're defending really hard as well. So yeah, it was really nice to see you get your elbows out too, and you're surrounded by Norwegians as well. Between there's Hurricane, there's Hazara, there's Dragon and Langfall, and you're the Canadian in P3. So yeah, congrats to the podium. It must have been so stressful though, keeping Dragon at bay. But were you working with MDJ in the first stint, try and keep Dragon at bay? And
yes.
did you decide to get the podium because MDJ picked up a 6-second time penalty?
No, what happened was me and Mikey had that straight line speed. I think he was running 18 wings, which is just completely ridiculous compared to me. I was running like 29-27, so I was nowhere near him in the straight line. So what we planned on doing was I'd get the advantage in the first sector, and then he'd get the advantage through the DRS, and I'd get the DRS down the back straight. But we originally didn't work it out as well, and then we originally thought we need to sort this out here, and then because we're just going to screw ourselves with Dragon behind, so I just thought I'll sit behind, defend from Dragon for a lap, and then overtake you through the first sector, which it worked.
Was your heart pounding? Because I know you've been in the midfield majority of this season, and now you finally got a sniff of a podium. How's your emotions? How do you keep your emotions together as well?
To be honest, it was just keeping calm, talking with Mikey, just doing what I usually need to do, keep Dragon on the DRS to hopefully hold up Laser and Langfjell to help Mikey get back within a sniff of podium. Obviously Mikey probably would have had the podium otherwise, without the spin, I mean, because he was rapid, he deserved it a lot more.
And also, during a few laps after safety car, you made a slight mistake yourself, I believe. I think you wobbled out one of the corners, and you dropped out of DRS range of MDJ. So, were you a bit frustrated with that one? Were you hoping that you could stay within 3 seconds of your own teammate?
That wasn't the plan. It was just the plan to pressure Hurricane, pressure Hazara, and that was the plan the whole race. Pressure those two after the safety car restart. Got past the Dragon as soon as I could into the long left, did a nice little dive up the inside there, and I just made that slight mistake, which completely screwed me.
But in the end, you brought it back together, and also you were dropping Dragon now and then out of DRS range. So every time you saw the gap go to 1 second, I bet you were like, "Yes, finally got out of DRS range." Then you saw him get back down to 1 second. So your nerves were all over the place, I presume.
Yes, they were. Dragon had that straight line speed, evident in the first stint where he was completely rapid compared to me down the straights. He was running a lot less wings, and through that first sector I was just dominating them all. Hazara, I'm sure he was rapid in that first sector in qualifying, so I'm sure he was running quite high wings. It was a good race, nice race into Dragon as well. He was really clean racing with him.
It was indeed. You got your elbows out against him, but kept it clean, which is the most important part. And also, while I've got you here, I want to talk to you about qualifying, because I've noticed in the last few races you're behind somebody. Is that on purpose, or are you waiting for the very last minute of qualifying to end?
No, it's not on purpose. Today, I was in a nice position by myself without it, and then there was a bit of an incident ahead of me involving Hurricane, Mikey, and Xenon. So I was stuck behind Hurricane, lost that time in the first sector, which completely screwed me. So, but yeah, still managed to sort it out and get the podium eventually.
Knowing what you're capable of now, and knowing you keep it clean and consistent, like you've proven today in a Qatar too, do you think you could be up there for the last few races of the season, or is your mind focused on MDJ? Are you trying to help him with the championship? Because I know he's still got a championship to win, of course.
Mikey's said he's lost the championship. When he spun, it was just, I've lost the championship. I give up, all that, and then I just said to him, we've still got the constructors, mate. Let's go for it. You've got nothing to lose now, so let's just send it and see what we can get.
Yeah, it is a frustrating day for MDJ. To feel sorry for him as well, especially in the first few laps when he picked up an immediate 3-second time penalty and another one in the same place. So, yeah, another day for your teammate, but on the other hand, for your side, you benefited from that and you're in the P3. So fantastic defending and attacking at the same time, and good pace management to try and keep Jargon out of the DRS range in the most important parts of the section as well. So congratulations, Rogue Smithy, today. You've done a fantastic job, and I think everybody will agree too. So you've proven your doubters wrong, and hopefully you keep proving wrong even more. And I want to see you scoring more points and not penalty points.
Yeah, it's been up and down season for me. Obviously, that incident earlier in the season with Barimi, which completely... I don't think I would have had the amount of wristbands I had if I just kept my head during that incident, because I just lost my head, thought he's shoving me off here and I just need to get back at him. I lost my head, saw red,